Okay, so this week I had the pleasure of playing the Prince William Championship Public Golf Course, which is just southwest of Manassas. Actually, it's about halfway between Manassas and Warrenton, out Vint Hill Road, near the Vint Lake, I believe it is. But in any case, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes southwest of Manassas. And the course is 18 holes, is about 6,200 yards and from the back tees. And it is about a slope 120, 125 course. But I think this course is probably a little bit more than 120, 125. I mean, it's not long. Now, there's no doubt that there's a difference between 420, 450 yard par fours and 550, yard par fives. And if you knock 75 yards off that, it can make a big difference in terms of the score. But at the same time, the greens on this course were top level, just great speed, lots of slope. Everyone's talking this week about Sergio Garcia hitting that 13 on, I guess it's number 15 over Rays Creek. The course had a number of greens which had similar levels of action and speed. Okay, where it was a slope part and a flatter part, and the pins today were up in those flatter parts near the top of the greens, and if you didn't get your putts or your approach shots up in those flatter parts near the top, they would happily roll all the way down to the bottom of the green. There was one par 3 that I played, which I think it was number 4. And I got a 5 in that hole. I hit my tee shot to the back fringe, and then just putting down to the hole, the ball just trickled and rolled right past the hole and gained speed and went off the fringe. I hit 2 weak shots back up, trying to play back up with a putter, and neither one of them got up to the top level, and they came right back down on my feet. And it was nice playing a good course with good greens. Maybe not the most attractive looking greens. They weren't that matte green like a pool table or something, like where you see, really solid, well maintained greens, just immaculate greens like they have at PB Dye and Bull Run, and some courses, like maybe sometimes they have them at Little Bennett. Other courses I've seen them, but Bethpage has them. Not a lot of courses have greens that are this good, but they were decent greens for April in terms of the appearance, and the speed was fantastic. Nice and fast, hard to keep the ball on the green, just good stuff. The kind of speed that you should have on a green if you're, when you're playing on a decent course. So that was definitely a plus. Now, I won't say the course was a great course in terms of some of the other annoyances. I mean, there were a couple of choppers that flew by overhead. It's close enough to Dulles where you do see jets on occasion, passing overhead, and it's close enough to Manassas Air Park where you do see, planes flying by, and there's a couple, I guess there's Warrenton Airport or something. There's a couple other ones down in the area. So there was a fair amount of plane traffic, and there was a fair amount of houses. There's maybe 6 or 7 or 8 houses that you play. Certainly one of the fairways, you pass right by a row of houses on the right side. And in fact, they've got, these bright, big, huge OB stakes, and guys got, chain link in between them and no trespassing signs and stuff like that. I mean, there's no joke about it. So without a doubt, on a few of the holes on the backside, the houses are a factor. And when you play 17 and 18, it goes right by Vint Hill Road, and there's traffic going by 50 miles an hour, and there's houses on the other side of the street, and there's houses right next to the 18th tee box, and the roads are right next to the 18th tee box. So it's not no question about it. On 17, 18, maybe 12 and 13 stuff, the houses and road noise and stuff is a factor. But for most of the course, it isn't. And it's just short of that point where it's annoying. And considering the number of courses that do have significant road noise and significant houses in the area, it's hard to really find a huge fault for it because it's so common. It's not as bad as it could have been. Certainly it's not as bad as it usually is, but it's just, just short of being not a factor. Just short of it. You really do notice them. They're not a huge big deal, but it is some of a deal. Some kind of, there is an impact. But I would say probably 12, 13, 14 of the holes are free of these kind of issues, other than the planes flying over the course, if you do see planes flying over the course. But virtually no houses, virtually no road noise, and you can go out there and just enjoy. And the course is a decent enough course. It's not an outstanding course. It's more like a course along the lines of Shenandoah Valley or some of the other sort of more average type of layouts, average type of courses. But this course is more verticality, significant more verticality than a lot of these courses. And so what you find is it's a really fun course to play that's challenging enough, but not overly challenging or overly vertical or overly difficult. And then you get on the greens, and the greens are, a solid challenge. But, it's more like a challenge of putting and chipping versus a challenge of, just hitting irons and drives. But it's still a challenge enough where you don't, think it's a walkover. It's not boring, and I think it's a good balance. And for the price and the location, there's virtually no traffic out there. It's not easy to get to. It's not some place that's you have to drive downtown or something like that, or drive through all this Route 7 traffic or out 28 or anything like that. It's nothing like that at all. It's a nice, convenient place to play golf in a nice, picturesque part of Virginia. So I certainly hope this course can remain the way it is now. And I would like to say that in 10, 15, 20 years time, I hope it's still open, that given the way that condos and houses sort of just sprout up like, weeds in Manassas and around Route 28 and so forth. I hope it's still open, and I think it would be a major plus for the area, much like Meadow Farms is for the Route 3 corridor. And I certainly would recommend this course. I can give it a solid B, maybe a B plus. It is the kind of course that doesn't seem to be a lot. It's got almost this little small clubhouse / pro shop at the back of the parking lot, but it has a nice driving range and a nice deck out behind the pro shop, and it is a good rural type, laid back type public course that doesn't charge a lot of money. It's $35 with 18 the cart for 18 on Fridays, at least it was. I don't think it's going to be that much more on Saturday. And it's just a good solid round. I absolutely enjoyed it, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it for a player looking for something different, but not wanting to pay a lot of money. That is the Prince William. I believe it's Prince William, and if not, I'll fix it. Prince William Championship Public Golf Course in Prince William / Manassas, Virginia.